Hi there. Today we're going to be using Ecoline inks again. These are a liquid watercolour and they're dye based, hence the state of my fingers. I've been doing a lot of this last few days and it is a lot of fun. So I wanted to share some of the ideas with you. I found this technique quite by accident and we're going to start off with some extra strength tissue paper and we're going to leave it dry and we're going to go in with the Ecoline in probably about 4 or 5 different colours. And we're simply going to go on and drip some colour like this. It doesn't matter where the drips go, apart from you don't want to put them on top of each other really. You want some space. Like that. Got some of the grey. I'm just going to come with a couple of shades of the terracotta and the saffron, I think it is. And you can see it's starting to puddle. There, let's just do one more. A little light here. And maybe a little bit there. Now that we've done that, I'm going to just use a water spray. And just lightly mist so the whole paper has water. And you can see how it's almost created just these shapes on its own with the borders and the gaps in between. That's why we don't put too much ink on there to start with. So I let that just sit a minute and just spread out. And then some of these have got quite a puddle of ink, so I'm just going to go in and just spray that out a little bit. That's okay. There we go. Okay. And once that's done, we actually dry it lying flat on the mat until most of the colour is gone off it, most of the wet. Otherwise, if we just pick it up now, it'll just bleed and you'll lose any white lines that you had. This will spread it out a little bit more, but it will maintain most of its shape. So I'm just going to go over and dry this. This is quite a nice technique if you like to doodle and draw, because you can sort of fill in some of the shapes with your pens. I use gold pens and white and black and create lines and marks in them. And so it sort of creates extra layers within your journals and things. So once you've dried kind of all the big puddles of colour flat on here, you can start to lift it, because it will dry a lot quicker once it's starting to be lifted off. But if you lift it too soon, you'll lose any white lines that you had. So just gently take it up. Just keep drying as you go. And then that's almost dry there. And that's the kind of effect you'll get. We're going to use extra strength tissue paper this time. There is a shiny side and a dull side. I'm using the dull side because I find it's just that little bit more absorbent. And we're going to start off with this technique. And I'm just going to wet the whole piece. Like that. I'm just going to take the ink with me. I'm just going to just spray around just to make sure there's no excess water hiding underneath. And then all I'm going to do is use the Ecoline and just drop some colour on. Now this is a messy technique. I'll put it out there that this is how I do get my really inky fingers playing with this, but it is such good fun. It's just nice. You never know what results you're going to get. And there's a couple of ways we can do this. I'm going to dry it as it is, flat on the mat, but you can actually screw this up. Because it's the extra strength tissue, it'll take a lot of, what do you call it, stress. It doesn't just rip. It's very strong. Let's just pop that there a second. What I'm going to do now is just grab some more water. And just make sure these are all blending in. Just give it a little bit of a smoosh, let it all blend, that's it. But really simple ways to create backgrounds that you can use for collage. whether it's on a canvas or in your art journals. We start off by just drying it where it is because it's too wet at the moment to lift it. Let's give it a quick dry, just get rid of the only pooling areas, anywhere that's really wet, and then we'll just lift it and dry it. And you'll see why I get so shinky hands. Now I'm just going to do one layer. You can do more layers. It's entirely feasible to dry it and then just go in again with more colours. Like watching paint dry. And you can opt to use just let this dry naturally in the air. I'm just trying to speed it up a little bit for the sake of the film. So we can dry it like that. As you can see, you get all the pretty colours, or you can actually screw it up like that. This is where you get really inky fingers, and if you want to go in and add a little bit more colour in places, and do that, and actually dry it this way. So you can either have quite a flat sheet of paper, or you can have quite a crinkly, which when you smooth it out and glue it down can look quite sort of leathery. So it's quite a nice effect, nice on book covers and things like that. So you can see where it's really dried, crinkly there, and here where it's a bit smooth but it's not yet dried. So you can have a choice whether you dry it quite smooth or whether you do it like that.